Alright guys, today I'm going to show you how to verify timing. I'm going to do it on my car because I've got to do it anyway. So, I've got my car a little bit, or my Firebird a little bit apart right now. I got the charge pipe off of it. I'm going to, pretty much you need to gain access to the harmonic balancer pulley and have access to the cylinder 1 spark plug. I recommend you doing this cold. Doing this hot would kind of stink. So, let me grab a flashlight and excuse the mess again. But so, as you can see here, I've got a coat hanger. I just cut up a coat hanger, straightened it out, and used one of my my accessory bracket bolts to hold it on, and just bend it out to where it's nice straight across the harmonic balancer pulley. That way, you can grab a silver Sharpie or any kind of Sharpie and Sharpie mark it. We're going to use the piston stop method to do this. So, and I will show you how to do that right now. Granted, I don't think I grabbed my piston stop, so I may have to pause the video and whatever. So, anyway, so first things first, you've got to gain. I'm unplugging my air intake temperature and my coolant temp sensors because I've got to get that valve cover off. I'm going to take the valve cover off because I'm going to undo my rocker arms on cylinder 1. That way they do not interfere with the piston stop. So, pretty much. Oh, good. Yep. Okay. I need a new set of plug wires. I actually have a set I'm getting soon, but right now these ones I'm just yanking off the coil packs to get them out of my way. Not trying to kill my fingers. There you go. Okay. Then I need to get the see if I can do this without a U-joint. I should go get a U-joint. So next up, you're taking off, or I'm taking off the ignition coil bracket to get all the coils out of the way, so I can. I probably should have went and got my U-joint. It's fine. I'm wondering if I want it. Looks like. This will allow me to gain access, or this will allow me to pull the ignition coil bracket off, so I can get that valve cover off. So there's that. That should be nice and loose. Look at that. Get this out of my way. Okay, now I need an 5/16 or an 8mm to get the valve cover off. Oh, look at that. I got lucky there. Okay. I want something there. And you pull this guy off. Get it out of your way. Just like so. Okay. So now that guy's out of my way. Now, I'm going to actually do this the proper way. So, grab my stuff. On LS engine, unless you did something different from factory, or at least the truck stuff. It's a 24mm headed bolt. So you need a 24mm socket to turn the thing over. There's probably a something that's close to equivalent standard, but most of my tools are metric anyway. So what I'm doing is I'm rotating the motor over to get past the exhaust and then take vents. I don't know if you can hear that on the video, but this thing's got some compression to it. So once you're past the exhaust and then take vents, that way the rockers are not under pressure. You can take an 8mm 5/16 and take the rockers off. What this does is it disables that cylinder from opening and shutting the valves and having the valves hit the piston stop. They make smaller piston stops that supposedly wouldn't touch the valve, but I don't like taking chances. Definitely when this is a higher lift than factory stock cam. So, next step, once you get that done, is to pull the plug, which you can do this before, it doesn't really matter, but you gotta get the plug out. So, okay. Oh, it looks happy up here. Okay, spark plug's out. So, okay then. I'm going to pause the video real quick. We'll be back when I grab the piston stop and locate my Sharpie. So, and I'm back. Okay, I ended up having to make a piston stop because I lost my old one. So, there's a piston stop. It is literally, I hope this piece of halter it's not too long, but it is the steel chunk of an old junkyard spark plug with the center punched out. I should have took a video of how to make one of these, but anyway, I'll just tell you. Right here was the electrode. You have to take a piece of, or a wire cutter, snip that off. Put this in a vise and hammer off the porcelain, and it comes out flat right there. Then this piece right here is kind of like curved over. Take that in a bench grinder and grind that down to the porcelain level. Then you put it in upside down. Where did I put my? There it is. You put it in upside down in a spark plug socket. Put the spark plug socket in a bench vise. Then use a bolt, just the correct bolt size for that spark plug hole, whatever you can find for junk, or a punch or whatever, and push the porcelain out. It'll have a steel retainer like shroud that the porcelain's pretty much glued into inside. That will all come out. Then you just take and you tap that out. I tapped mine out to 3/8 a coarse thread, and then a piece of coarse thread, all thread, and you've got yourself a piston stop. So what I'm going to do now is thread this in after I see where the piston's at, so I don't go too far. I can't see. Piston's coming up the hole, so that should be alright. And being that this is a custom piston stop, it's kind of like takes a little bit of feeling to get it right. So that chunk I just made, I'm threaded into the cylinder head. Hopefully that piece of all thread is short enough. It's the shortest piece I've got. If I have to, I'll cut it down. Alright. Hey, look at that. That worked. So I'm just threading this in. That should be more than enough, actually. And whatever you do, once you set this, you do not want to touch that rod. It's a little loose in the hole, but that's fine. So now the objective is to find top dead center. So I'm going to, where did I throw my, there it is, I'm looking right at it. So I have a mark on here that I need to remove, possibly. So I got some brake clean to remove the old Sharpie mark. Oh, I just hit it. Yep, it's nice and tight. So what I might end up doing is I'll play with this a little bit because I don't think it's as high as it should be. So just follow along with what I'm doing so you guys have an idea of what's going on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to feel where top dead center is with this spark plug. That, because being it's a really long piece of all thread, I probably threaded it in way too far. Oh, probably. Yep, I went past top dead center. So, okay. That's good right there. There you go. That's good enough. Yeah, okay, and here is proof of concept. That Sharpie line right there, that silver Sharpie line was my old line. So I'm going to leave that there for right at the moment. I'm using a black Sharpie and then a white paint marker. So if I need to, I can remove that Sharpie line. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to need to. This is also showing people how far off I was using I used a piece of coat hanger in there originally to try to find top dead center, and I know I was off. It had to have been off. I was trying to verify on my timing. I was close to 40 degrees advanced. I was like, it's not. I was commanding 20, checked it with my timing light, and it said it was around 40 to line those marks up. I'm like, that's not right. So we're doing it again. So I don't know if you can see that. There's a black mark underneath that pointer. I'm going to leave the Sharpie mark right there because the Sharpie mark was where I thought was at top dead center. Now I'm going to rotate it the other direction, almost 360 degrees, and make another black mark. The middle of those two black marks, without touching the piston stop, is top dead center. So There we go. Just to make sure, don't rotate. Yeah, it's tight. Okay. So, now we're going to take and Sharpie another marker on here. Oh yeah, I don't even see the... Where's the other... I'm actually going to have to back this out a little bit, it looks like. Yeah, I can't see the other mark. Oh, there it is. Yeah, the piston stops in too far. So here's a... And my mark was way off, and I'll show you that later, but my piston stop was in too far. So, I'm going to have to back it off and redo the test. So, I'm going to just keep the video going and show you guys what I'm going to do. So, in order to do that, what I'm going to do, now I know relatively where top dead's going to be, I'm going to relieve the pressure off of the piston stop. There we go. So, 1, 2, 3. 3 rotations, see where it lands me. Still not quite close enough, so we'll go another 3. 1, 2, actually it might be even too far. Find out. Yeah, let's see 4. Okay. Right now what I'm doing, I probably should be talking while I do this. Right now what I'm doing is I'm chasing this piece of all thread. So, wrong direction. What I'm doing is I'm slowly bringing the piston up with the crank. I'm trying to feel where top dead is. Top dead's right there. So, okay. So I moved the piston a little bit farther that direction, or down, just a little bit to get a good, even, but close marking, so that way I can get this right. Because the markings before were like way off in that balancer. So what I'm going to do now, yeah, just to give you an idea, this is almost at top dead center, and my old top dead center mark of a coat hanger is all the way up there. It's pretty much underneath the water pump. So that's why you can't do that with a coat hanger. It'll get you way off. You have to use a piston stop. So, and they're easy enough to make with old spark plugs. So marking it with a Sharpie. Nice good black mark right underneath the... That way when I'm looking at right here, that mark is underneath that coat hanger. So, now I rotate it the other direction. I can't remember which way that is. Find out right about now. No, it's not that way. And what I'm going to do is I'll undo my other Sharpie mark with some carb clean on a rag. That way I don't get things messed up when I'm doing my final mark. And this would probably be easier if you remove all the spark plugs, because right now I'm fighting compression and vacuum out that one, so out number cylinder one plus all the others. So if you want to make your life easy, pull the plugs out. I'm kind of a sucker for punishment when it comes to this stuff, so I can't take things the hard way, but it's quicker. You just gotta fight against compression and vacuum. At that one cylinder, it's not opening the valves. Oh, there you go. Just hit the piston stop. And it looks like I'm going to have to do all this again. So what I'm going to do, just for the heck of it, I think I'll mark the old paint mark on the back. There we go. As long as it doesn't run. It's going to run a little bit. To the top of the mark. I'm not going to do this for you guys here. There you go. Okay, so that mark right there was the old top dead center mark. And I don't know if you can see it with the GoPro, but it matches up. So, carb cleaner rag, I'm going to have to redo all my marks again, which means I got to rotate it over because I can't tell which one was the last mark I just put down. So, which is fine, it is what it is. So, a little bit of carb clean on a old rag. So you can clean off all the marks. Like it's been never touched. Okay. So, now let's do this again. Not that I want to, but it happens. So, we'll take. Oh wait, there's my mark. I'm gonna double check that. But if that was the mark right there for top dead center, we were way off, which makes sense of why I thought it was way off. There we go. I think that's the new mark I had down. I'll find out when I rotate it over. So I'm not taking any chances. Alright. That could have been my old marks too. I was seeing from the 4.8 because I'm using the same balancer from the 4.8 on this 5.3. Okay. Hit the piston stop again. Moment of truth. Oh. Yeah. Okay, it wasn't the mark I was thinking of. And actually, it's a little farther down, so that's fine. I can clean it up with the curb clean on the rag. But anyway. So in between those two marks right now, which I guess would be the coat hanger, that top mark is top dead center. And if you look on the other side of the other mark is where I used to have top dead center with just the coat hanger, thinking that was top dead center. It's not close. I mean, that's how far off I was. I'll see if I can measure with a, once I get this 100%, I'll see if I can measure it with a my micrometer. So, okay, not a huge deal. Yeah, that's why I was off so far. It's in between those two black Sharpie marks, and the other one was way up there. So I'm gonna pause the video real quick and go grab my micrometer, and I'll show you how to do the rest of this. Yeah. Okay, and I'm back. So I've got my micrometer here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take a measurement between those 2 points somehow. Yeah, what I'm going to do, because this thing's freaking out, the battery's getting low, I'm going to, now I've got the harmonic balancer marked, I'm going to mark the edge of it to make my life easier. So I can see where to measure. So I marked the one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the piston stop out now, because I don't need it. Gotta relieve the pressure off of it. I'm probably going the wrong way. Where am I? There we go. So, piston stop's coming out. There we go. Set this aside. And I'll grab the other piece of the piston stop in a minute. Okay, so I need to rotate that down to where I can mark my other one so I can actually measure. Yeah, so there's the other point where the piston's going. I mean, right there, the piston's still coming up to top dead center. The other one, it's going down from top dead center. And my mark is all the way up there. Still going to measure, let you know how far off it was from true top dead center. But, yeah, trying to just get the point across. Do not use a coat hanger to find top dead center in the spark plug hole. Or a screwdriver or whatever. I've seen guys try to find top dead center with a screwdriver or a coat hanger or whatever they can shove down the spark plug hole to find true top dead center. And yeah, tried that the other night and found out it don't work. So okay, going to get this rotated back over or around, hopefully without killing my fingers. There you go. So now I got the 2 marks at the end of the harmonic balancer. I can measure and see where exactly they are. Pretty much what you need to do is you need to measure the 2 points and get dead in between them. And that's your true top dead center. So right there, I got 1.6 inches. So what I'm going to do is use my calculator, because My brain is not doing too hot right now, so 1.6 divided by 2 is 0.8 inches. So you get 0.8 inches on the micrometer, lock it in, and then mark the harmonic balancer. And that's true top dead center. So it doesn't matter from which point you go from, I just do whatever's easiest. So actually right now, it's not quite top dead center, it's crank's almost at top dead center. I can Sharpie that mark though on and verify it. To verify it's going to be, I'll rotate this up a little bit and use the marks the original marks I put on the harmonic balancer. If that's the right mark, I will put it in white. Oh, come on. There you go. Make sure I don't bump it. Nope, we're good. Would you look at that? That's top dead center. Okay, so I'm gonna mark that in white so it's very apparent. Now to measure how far off this guy was before. So there's top dead center. There's what I thought it was. So yeah, it looks like it's on the intake stroke, so I gotta rotate it before I put the rocker arms back on. So it before was off. That's a little too far. Oh, I bumped it. All right, about there. So, 1 point, if you can see that, 1.380. It's flashing because the batteries are dying on that thing. But so it's what over 1.375 inches off. Where I thought it was at top dead center with the spark plug out using a coat hanger to feel where I thought the piston came up all the way. So you can see how accurate that is. It's not. So anyway, actually that's the piece of coat hanger I was using. Yeah, it was that piece of coat hanger in the spark plug hole. And what I was doing was I was rotating the crank just to feel where it came up to the top, and that's where I marked the crank. And it's not right. So it is now. Make sure nothing's runny or anything. That marks good. Yeah, that marks fine. Okay, that's gonna be very apparent. So now I get to remove the piston stop. Oops. I'll get this thing ready to fire back up. I can get the piston stop out of it. and rotate the motor over again. So that way I'm not tightening the rockers while it's trying to open a valve. That's just no fun. So just so that way I know where this is and I don't lose this one. It took me a little bit to make that. Boom. Done. Okay. So now I throw the spark plug back in this little hole. Okay, so that's done. Now I need to rotate the motor over so I can put the rockers back on. Yeah, it's on the intake stroke. I can see the push rod coming up. Good thing about this is now that I know where top dead is, I can watch it come back up. There it is. So right now cylinder one's top dead on the firing stroke, which is where you want it, so that way you can put the push rods in without trying to open up a valve. What it does is it screws up the torque on the bolt, and you can actually strip it out of the head. I did do that one time. No, not fun. That's one of those live and learn moments. Make sure, a lot of people just run them in with the end, not rotate the motor over, just zip, 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 zip. Don't do that. Learn from my mistakes. It's not fun to fix. So I pretty much just run them down with that, and then I will tighten them up like this by hand. Yeah, okay. So, ready to rock. Gotta get the valve cover on. Fish this guy back in. Where are you? There you are. Three, 4. Okay. Now, this one's the same way. I just like to rub it in my hand to know I'm not over torquing them. Okay, I'll put it back on. Now, just to know, I'm going to double check the torque on the spark plug. Yep, good there. Give it a whir. Okay. Cold packs. There we go. Okay. No, I just gotta rub it by hand. Okay. Now. Okay. Now I gotta hook up my coolant sensor and my temperature gauge, or my air temperature, sorry. I've got these actually marked. The one with the electric tape on it instead of the chloroplast tape is my coolant. And this guy's my air temp, which I know it's not in stream right now, but it doesn't really have to be, just to get the time verified, because I gotta leave that aside so I can actually see the crank. So, okay, I think we're ready to rock. I get the timing light out. I'm gonna move my tools aside for now, so I can get this stuff ready to rock for my timing. So, okay, move everything back to my handy dandy truck tailgate workbench. Okay, get that out of my way for now. Okay, now it's time to verify timing. So, I am going to go into a little bit of a rant here. I have a fancy timing light. If you have anything with a cam, it's probably recommended you at least have a digital one, a digital dial back. If you're running digital dial back, if you are running wasted spark like I am, pretty much any megasquirt running a V8. I'm running an MS2, which might as well be the same thing. It's got a little bit more inputs and outputs, but it pretty much is a micro for reference, and it runs the ignition and wasted spark. So because of that, I have to run a digital timing light that will register in pretty much 2-cycle mode because it's wasted spark. 2-cycle or distributorless ignition, which is what it is. The guys running MS3 or gold boxes or anything, you can get away with a dial back. If you have a dial back and you're running wasted spark like on a micro, and what is it? You're running megasquirt on a wasted spark, and you do not have a big cam. You have like a factory cam. You can use a regular dial, cheaper timing light, and that one you have to set it at 0 and you have to set the timing at 0. Because I'm using a digital one, I'm going to show you what I'm doing a little different. It's not much different, but pretty much what I'm going to do, because I've got a big cam in this thing, or a bigger cam I should say, I am going to be running it with just charging. Yeah, it's plugged in. Okay. I'm going to be running it with 20 degrees advance. I'll have the timing light set to 20 degrees advance, and now that I know where top dead center actually is, I can use that to verify my timing. So pretty much just watch what I'm doing. This should have power now. Why don't you have power? There we go. Look at that. There. Just gotta mess with the ground a little bit until it gets a good ground. There we go. So I've got a fancy little Blue Point one. I used to be a tech, so I have mainly Snap-on and Mako tools. Whatever, it is what it is. I mean, again, it matters what you're doing. If you have a next to no cam in the engine at all, you can use a cheaper factory or cheaper timing light. Set the fixed advance to 0, and then you can use the timing light to see how far off you are in the timing wizard, which I'm going to show you right now. So I'm going to get this booted up. Let's see if I can get my GoPro in here. Oh, look at that. So boot that up, and where are these? There we go. Now that, while that's booting up, I'm just going to double check, make sure everything looks good. Make sure nothing's disconnected that should be connected or anything. It all looks fine. I grab my phone. So now once my computer boots up. There we go. Bring up Tuner Studio. Okay. So, in ignition settings, you go to ignition options once you bring up Tuner Studio. You're going to use fixed timing, and I'm going to run I'm going to run 30 degrees because this is such a huge cam. This thing likes timing to stay running at idle. So we're going to run 30 degrees advance. For idle. Burn it. Close. Then I'm going to start the thing up. Timing light, it says, here, let me bring this around so you can kind of see it. It says match above value of timing light reading. So I gotta set my timing light to 30 degrees and see how far it's off. So again, because I'm running wasted spark, I gotta set it to 2-phoner mode. this angle. I'm going to pull 5 degrees out of it, so it should bring it to 30 exact. So I'm going to hold the shift button so it goes faster. I just pull 5 degrees out of it. So and the issue you run into is when you're not running good spark plug wires, you run into issues with that messing up. So I just swapped this plug wire around, and apparently it's not on or something, or it's not tight. It's not tight. So yeah, that's what's going on. Stupid thing. Yeah, I was getting a reading of like 460 something on my tack, or on my tack of my my digital, yeah, my digital timing light, and it was idling. I know it's idling around 900 RPM. So I fixed that. I'm going to try to tighten this thing up. Our channel locks. I have a new set of spark plug wires coming. I just haven't gotten them yet. I'm going to put them on before I start doing any kind of spirited driving. There, that might be a little hard to put on, but I should stiffen it up. Where'd my boot go? There it is. This is what I ran into the other day. Oh crap, that's hot. There. Okay, that should fix that. So, put that back on it. Tight so it stays up. We'll give that a shot. Okay, see if it starts them. Okay. So, I thought the time was off. It wasn't. It's because I turned this off and whatever. So. I'm leaving it at 30. Now that I got my plug wire straightened out, and the RPM's right for what Tuner Studio is saying the motor's at. I'm almost dead. I think I was just going the wrong way before. Offset angle on this thing is 5 degrees. Looks like it's 5 degrees advanced. So, my old motor, I was 4.5 degrees advanced. This one's 5. So it's dead on the money now. And you can see why before, I don't know if you can see the other mark that's way up there. Now I know this is 30 degrees. Alright guys, so my GoPro decided to die on me when I was finishing up the advanced video, or how to set or verify your timing, I should say, in Tuner Studio using a megasquirt product. So I'm going to finish this, or finish the video up with this little snippet. So I figured out what I did and what I was doing wrong, so I figure I'll give you the correct information at the very end. What's going on is, when you're looking at the crank pulley on these turns clockwise when you're looking at them. So, if you have your pointer set up, anything before your pointer, like if the mark comes up before your pointer when you have your timer light set correctly, it's advanced. Anything after the pointer, it's retarded. So, what's going on is when you are in Trigger Wizard, which I'll bring up right now, if as you can recall from the video, this thing was 5 degrees advanced. So, what you have to do in Trigger Wizard is the same thing. And I've got it up on the computer, just to show you. So, right, focus. Anyway, okay, so you can see it's 5 degrees advanced right there, alright? And that button right there just increases it 5 degrees. So what it does is, when you're telling it that it's 5 degrees advanced, say for instance, that number right there was 30. I had my timing light at 30. And it was advanced still, which means it was off, or the timing wheel on the crank is offset. Had I put my timing light at 35 degrees, everything would have lined up. So, to make everything lined up, you just tell it the ignition offset's 5 degrees. What that does is it actually retards the timing globally 5 degrees to get everything to line up correctly. So when you're commanding 30 degrees, you actually get 30 degrees on the engine. And as I was saying before, just to touch up, let me get back out of the car here. Just to touch up on the video, us guys who are running wasted spark, it'd be the megasquirt guys, MS2, it could be even MS3 if you're running in wasted spark configuration stuff sequentially. What you have to do is you absolutely have to have a timing light that works for either a 2-stroke engine or have a small cam and set everything to 0. So that way the timing predictions aren't off. Because if you use a 4-stroke dial back timing light that's not 2-stroke compatible or distributorless ignition compatible, when you dial it back, it's going to give you a wrong reading. So you absolutely, and because of the fact it's going to give you a wrong reading, you absolutely have to have a 2-stroke timing light or a DIS compatible timing light if you're running an engine with a big cam where it has a very rough idle and you can't run 0 degrees of ignition advance to run a 4-stroke light because you're wasted spark. You're going to have to get either a digital timing light like what I was using in the video, or you're going to have to get some kind of DIS compatible or 2-stroke compatible timing light. So that way when you dial it back, it's going to be on the right time frame for flashing a light for the amount of advance you put into that timing light. So I hope this helps you guys out. If you have any questions, please email. You can email me, or you can comment on the video. Thanks for watching.